Good morning. Let's take a look at what velocity means in Makecode Arcade. Velocity is an important concept for controlling movement in games. It's a word that is often used to mean speed, like how fast something is moving. But in Makecode Arcade, velocity also tells us which direction an object is moving. So it's not just about how fast something is going, but also where it's going. By using velocity, you can make your game characters move at different speeds and in different directions to make sure that your game is exciting and fun to play. So are you ready to get started? Let's do this. I already added a sprite, and just so that the sprite stays in screen, we're going to have it bounce off the walls. The next thing we need to do is we need to find the block that says set my sprite velocity to Vx50, Vy50. It's in the sprites category, but you know how much I love to use the search. Let's go into search and type in velocity. Here it is, set my sprite's velocity to Vx50, Vy50. And I'm going to add that underneath. And then I have my error message because I don't have a sprite named my sprite. So we're going to make sure it says marble. All right, let's see what happens when we just let it go with default. It just starts moving on its own. So while it's bouncing around, let's take a little closer look at what these things mean. The Vx stands for the horizontal velocity, which controls the sprite's movements from left to right. The number 50 determines the speed of this horizontal movement. Let's see what happens if we get rid of the Vy value and just have a Vx value. You can see now the sprite is doing exactly what Vx should have it do. It's moving at a speed of 50 in a horizontal direction. There is no up or down with this because we removed the Vy. So that brings us to the Vy. This represents the vertical velocity, and it's controlling the sprite's movement up and down. Again, the number 50, which is the default, sets the speed of that movement. So let's get rid of our Vx value this time so we can just watch the up and down movement of the Vy. So velocity in the y axis, up and down. So we can change the numbers, which is the speed, in the block to make the sprite move faster or slower. Positive numbers are going to make the sprite move in one direction, but negative numbers will make it move in the opposite direction. Let's test this. Again, let's just use our Vx value to start so it is a little easier to see. Let's change the value, and we can use the slider that shows up. So 100 is going to be the highest velocity. Go. Let's take a look at this more closely. When it starts, it goes to the right, then to the left, to the right, then to the left. Let's change the value to negative and reset it. It should move to the left first. There it goes. Left, right, left, right. It's important to understand that the negative and positive, what it's going to do to your sprite values. So if I have a negative and a positive value, it's just moving around fast, but it moves to the left first. Let's see what happens if we reset this. So a positive value moves it down first. So the opposite should be true. If we have a negative value in our Vy, it should move in an upwards position first. There it goes. Remember, make sure you experiment with these different values for the velocities and test its effects based on what you want your sprites to do in your game.